What's up, gamers? It is time for another Battle Mallet podcast unboxing video, and we have something of a surprise in store. So we were sent a copy of Pyre and Flood by Games Workshop as an advanced copy for review. Warcry is the game that we talk about. It is our favorite game that we never play. It is our favorite beer and pretzels. Like, let's just get together in the garage or on the kitchen table, bust out some minis, and play a game. And so we're super excited to be able to open this for you guys. I have this monitor light, and then the box is very reflective, so you're getting some very nice shine on there. But as you can see, we have the leaders of both warbands captured here, the Yadrillin Riverblades and the Pyregeists. So, you know, nice pictures. And then we have this sweet idol of the old ones piece of terrain in here that is featured in this box. So this is another smaller expansion for Warcry. It does not have, as far as I can tell, the full rules for the game in the box, but it does have the rules that you need to play with both of these warbands, plus the rules for that Idol of the Old Ones. And then there are also some rules for adding more interesting terrain features to your game. So without further ado, we'll get into the unboxing. So we'll pull this out. Oh, nice dark background for me to use to put the sprues over. So looks like we've got the Yadrillin sprue here on top. These are the River Blades. I mean, in classic new GW fashion, I mean, the sprues are just jam-packed, full of details. We've got, you know, some nice dynamic poses going on, featuring some terrain that you'll be able to paint up to match your table, or to customize toward your own warband. Lots of different options, lots of different features. We've got this cool head crest here. This stood out to me. So we got a head crest with this like long ponytail coming off of it, which looks awesome. It looks like we've got some whips and ropes with hooks on them, and halberds, swords. You guys, we will check out a blog. Check out our blog later. I'll do a slight review. It is going to be completely uninformed because we do not play Warcry competitively, but it will at least feature some of the details, and we'll see about putting the cards in the card gallery where we normally feature our Underworlds cards. So that's the Yadrillin Riverblades, and now we've got the sprues for the Pyregeists. So lots of large sweeping cloak pieces, cool flame motifs. Check that axe out. That's pretty impressive. We've got these braziers on staffs. We've got torches. There's a lot going on here. You know, your spirit elements. That looks like... so that is a spirit being pulled out of a charred husk of something, which is pretty intense. So again, classic new GW fashion. I say new GW. They've been doing this for a long time. It feels new to me. Where we are just jam-packed full of details. Oh, it's cool. It looks like there's like chainmail under the cloaks. I don't know if that's going to come through. We'll take some better pictures of these sprues too, and put them up in the blog. So that's the Pyregeist, and then we have our Hunkin terrain piece. So this is the Idol of the Old Ones. A nice big chunky piece of terrain. We'll try to get this put together, and that way everybody has access to it. I can see it. Got some. I'm excited to get this put together, hopefully painted before we get started, before everything goes live. But we'll see. And then bases, as per usual, large bases for the Pyregeists. Got some standard 28s and 32s in there, I think. We have the Pyre and Flood book. Instructions. So start moving more stuff out of the way. That's reflecting poorly. Okay, so I think we should also go through the cards that come in the box. So we will just open them up, and like Underworlds, it looks like they are shifting towards paper packaging, which is largely better for the environment, probably cheaper for them anyway. But yeah, so it looks like we have copies of all of the cards, the layouts, all of the twists. No, lots of twists, and then the different victory conditions. So all of those things that were printed in the book, we're also getting cards for. And then we have the fighter cards. So the leader is 205 points, it looks like. Or there's a 210 point version, which is cool. Another 210 point version. And then we've got all of the different smaller fighters. So this warband's got a good variety. So we've got some more expensive fighters, and then cheaper fighters at 65. And then for the Pyregeists, there's a leader, and then maybe an alternate version, and then some elites. So 130, another 130, and then 115, 100, 100. So cheaper, and then your standard. Oh, I have multiples of these. And then the different methods of deploying. And then we have the ability cards in English with the different options. And then universal abilities as our standard, universal reactions. So we'll just look at these real quick. It's always good to look at the quads. I'm always curious about those. So the quad for the Yadrillan River Blades is Boiling Wrath. This fighter makes a number of bonus actions, which may be any combination of move, attack, and disengage actions equal to the number of fighters from this fighter's battle group that have been taken down. Oh, so that is some late game nonsense right there. Imagine, you've got 3 or 4 of your fighters taken down, which seems likely with these kind of smaller fighters from the River Blades. Yeah, 8 health, toughness 3. That's pretty easy to chew through. So, you lose 2 or 3 of those, 4 of those, and life, you could hit really hard. So that's pretty good. And then the quad for the Pyregeist is Agonizing Penance. Pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 of this fighter. That enemy fighter makes a bonus move action directly towards the closest other fighter from their warband as if they were jumping a number of inches equal to the value of this ability. When doing so, they can move away from enemy fighters within 1 inch at the start of that move action. After that move action, allocate 3 damage points to that fighter and to each other enemy fighter within 2 inches of that fighter. Cremate each fighter taken down by this ability. So what is cremate? Balefire Cremation. When an ability tells you to cremate a fighter, remove that fighter from the battlefield and place a Pyre token at the center of the space occupied by that fighter. At the end of the battle round, after determining control of objectives, allocate 3 damage to each enemy fighter within 1 inch of the center of 1 or more Pyre tokens. So, yikes. So not only do you take down an enemy fighter, but you set the corpse on fire and damage their teammates. So that seems pretty good. Yeah, I just allocating 3 damage to a fighter, and then allocating 3 damage to each enemy fighter. If you do that at the end, oh, that's hot. Pun completely intended. So, Warband Tome, Pyre and Flood. we've got some nice art. Let's put this here so we're kind of at an angle. There we go. So art. Talking about sites of power, which I think this thing keys into. Lore, as per usual. Let's see if I tip the brightness down a little bit. We can see better. Let's go back to that art now that we're not reflecting terribly. The map, lore, different parts of Gur where we're fighting, lore on the Riverblades, everything that they've got going on, lore on the Pyre. And then kind of the campaign. So you've got all of the art. So what this book adds, so it has the rules for the Idol of the Old Ones. So you get 2 abilities with it. The first is a triple. This is a stuttering beam, a fighter other than a fighter with the beast rune mark on a platform and within 1 inch of the damaged gem in the crown can use the ability below to attempt to focus the energy of the Idol of the Old Ones. This is a triple stuttering beam. Pick a point on the battlefield that is visible to this fighter and roll a dice. On a roll of 1, allocate d6 damage points to this fighter. Oops, guess you messed up. Otherwise, allocate a number of damage points equal to half the value of this ability, rounding up to each enemy fighter within 3 inches of that point. So you get a 3-inch radius burst of damage. Could be up to 6 damage if you spin triple sixes on it. That's pretty good. Out of activation damage or damage without having to roll dice is always useful. And then troves. Some terrain features are troves in addition to other terrain types. A fighter within 1 inch of a trove can use the following abilities. So the lore text here: the Sundered Scales are littered with troves that glint in the promise of treasure and boons, if they're not trapped, of course. So with a double, you can ransack, roll a dice. On a roll of 1 to 2, allocate d3 damage to this fighter. Oops, it was trapped. On a roll of 3 to 4, remove 3 damage points allocated to this fighter. And on a roll of 5 to 6, add 1 wild die to your saved wild dice. That's pretty nice. So reserving those wild dice to be able to use how you want in the future could be helpful. And then they offer some new rules for places of power. So you can add rules. So you can add rules to the battlefield, and each of these sites of power, places of power, grants you a new ability. Looks like most of them are on doubles, or they just happen. So you could make something life-sucking at the end of each battle round before control of objectives is determined. Allocate 3 damage points to each fighter on a terrain piece or platform with this property if the fighter has 1 or more damage points allocated to them. So even the smallest drop of blood can awaken the hunger that lurks beneath the surface here. So they've got some suggested pieces just in pictures, but there's nothing in here written down to say what the pieces should be. So you could just assign these rules out to your terrain as you're building out your Warcry map. And then we've got, the campaign rules. So quests for the Riverblades, quests for the Pyre. Their quest battle plans. And then, in classic Warcry fashion, there is a campaign arc to be followed, so you can kind of play through this story to see how things get settled out between the Riverblades and the Pyre in this battle of the elements. And then we've got more victory condition cards, battle plan generators, and twists that you can add to your Warcry games, and then background information, and that's it. So again, we want to say thanks to Games Workshop for sending this out. Keep an eye out or go to our blog, blog.battle-mallet.com by the time this video is live, and hopefully get a written out review. Like I said, it will be not very uninformed, but it will be slightly uninformed / from a casual player's perspective on our thoughts on the fighters, on the warbands themselves, and how all of this works out. So for the Battle Mallet podcast, hopefully I am not a burnt corpse having my spirit taken by the servants of Nagash. This is Jared signing out.